Okay, I'm recording.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining. This is my first time hosting. Usually I sit back, bead, and watch. So this is new for me. But while I'm talking, if you want to start by threading your needle, I feel like I'm backing up a truck. I usually go with a double-sided thread, and I knot it at the end and put a little wax on. If you're new to beading, these are just some basics. I'm going to break this up into 4 sections so we can hopefully get through all the steps. If you have to leave early, you can catch whatever you miss on the Facebook page. A video will be posted later. So your supplies today include a piece of Helen with one of these centers in the middle, 3 different colors of beads, the needle, thread, wax. Oh shoot, I forgot the backing. There's like a backing in there. I cut mine out already. Yep. And the pop socket itself is in the little bag. The one thing that you don't have is the glue. You can either buy some yourself, or you can come to the library later and we can use some glue for you. There are 2 different kinds of needles. It's a preference if you like the short one or the long one. I discovered when I was getting ready for this that there are a number of rows you need to do to fit on the pop socket. I couldn't remember how many you needed, so the first one I made had 4 rows. Oh, and I'm sorry, there's edging too. The little shiny stuff right here. And everyone's is a little different color based on the center. So the first time I did it, I had 4 rows around. Wait, wrong hand. 4 rows around and this edging, banding. When I put it on the back of the pop socket, it goes over. Ooh.
I'm hearing some feedback. I don't know if everyone can mute or.
I think it's because, Maria, I think your audio is coming through on both cameras.
I turn the audio off on the computer.
Okay.
It's just the iPad. Unless I turn the audio off the iPad.
I think that's what my issue was. I was ending up having to turn the iPad audio off.
Hold on. Hey, Laura. Can you help me turn the audio off on the iPad? Try that. Is it echoey yet? Is it better? No? What did you say you pressed, Janice? Well, thank you, Janice.
Thank you, Janice. You know all the tricks
right
on this.
We should have marked on where we put this guy.
The thing is, it got more narrow. Oh, there you go.
We started early thinking we had it fixed.
Okay.
All right.
Now you can start recording again, maybe.
Okay, we're going.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, thank you. So do you see that this pop socket, and I guess it's preference, it actually has a lot of the blue underneath. And then when I went to 3 rows with the banding, it seems to fit closer to the pop socket itself. Do you see the difference? So and they're very similar patterns, but they're just a little bit bigger. And so I think it depends on what you want. If you want it to be fitted closer to this, you limit your number of rows around. If you want it to be wider, then you can do like 4 rows. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
That was just my trial and error, Because I did this one first thinking, oh yeah, I think it was 4 because I sold all the pop sockets I made and I didn't have a sample anymore. So I tried to go from memory and my memory was obviously not that good. But just as so you're aware, the other thing that people usually ask about is what do you do with 3 rows? So what I would ask myself, what am I going to do with 3 rows? Well, you have the choice of doing like this one has a pattern in the middle. Right next to the edge, I did some colors and a solid. Then I did a solid in that pattern again. Or when I did the 4, I did solid colors. Do you see that there's slight variations? And then this weekend I had different colors and it's more of, oh, that looks horrible. It's the solid pattern and solid. Sometimes it's nice just to use a simple color instead of trying to get too fancy. Sometimes I try and get fancy and it doesn't turn out so well. But that's just to give you an idea of what different people do, because everybody does it different. And what I wanted to start with is saying that you have your flat piece. And the nice thing about having a flat piece is you can sample what you're going to do before you make it permanent. That's one of the things I like. You start putting your needle through the pellet, and I try and get it as close to the center as possible. I don't know if you can see that. There's the needle. There's the center, and it's close. So you go up through the pellet, pull your thread all the way through, and then you ask yourself, what do I want to start with? And I am going to start with a solid color. One of my other step 2 is a solid color, but it's a different one. So I'm going to start with, I think I'll do this middle color purple. And I'm going to see, do I like that color or do I not like it? So I'm going to put like a couple of beads on and I'm going to put it down next to the center. I'm going to ask myself, do I like this? Sorry about that. Do I like the way this color purple looks against the center? Does it complement what I'm doing? If you don't like it, you can always try a different color. You can see how that looks. Then I started doing this before and I'm like, hey, I like the pattern, but no, I'm going to do a solid. So you can start testing. You can't even see so well on here, but there's a light pink, light purple, and then the deeper purple. But it's just a matter of testing out what you want to try for your colors. So I will start with the solid color right here in the middle. I like doing 6 beads. And I'm looking in my needle is farther away from the center than I want it to be. So I'm going to take my beads off and try that again. Take my needle out. I was so busy watching that I didn't pay attention to how close my needle or far it was away from the middle. So I'm going to try again, getting it closer to the center. And then I'm going to put 6 beads on my needle. Okay, 6 beads on. Then what I do is I lay it down next to the center. I use my thumb to hold that last bead down. I take the needle and put it as close to that bead as possible. Pull my thread through, and it's nice and flush next to the center. I put my needle up through the middle, which is in between the 3rd and 4th bead. I like to go close to the inside because when I try and do it on the outside, I usually end up being too far away. I put my needle through that 4th, 5th, and 6th bead. If it cooperates, there we go. Pull that through and make sure it is nice and tight so it's not going to be saggy in weird places. I should put my timer. Okay, so then you just keep going around and around, and if you're doing a solid color, you just keep doing the solid color all the way around. If you're doing a pattern, then you're going to want to make sure that you have your pattern going around like you want it to.
Do you go on the inside towards the cab or on the outside
Or
to put them down,
I
to
put
tack
them,
them?
I put them towards the cab.
Okay.
And it, if you do 6 beads, it doesn't take too long to get all the way around. I don't know that we'll have enough time to go all the way around and do a second row, but it doesn't take very long. It takes longer if I do a pattern. That's one of the reasons I said solid for this demonstration, because it would be faster. Otherwise, I have to sit there and count. The other thing, if you're going to do a pattern, you kind of want to decide where you're going to start your pattern, because the centers that we have, the cabochons, they have like dancers, and you might want to have your dancer color start in a certain spot. 3. Oh, I got 6. So you just keep going around with your 6 beads. You can also do 4, but like I said, I like doing 6. You want to use your thumb to hold down that last bead, pull your needle and thread through, and go back up between the 3rd and 4th bead. I like to pull the string tight so that your beads are not loose. Then I use my thumb again to hold down the thread as I pull it through, so hopefully my thread doesn't knot up. That happened to me recently, and my thread kept knotting up, and it was really frustrating because trying to get out a knot is not easy. And you just keep grabbing your 6 beads. You go all the way around. The part that I suppose you wouldn't know is, like I said, we won't have enough time to go all the way around, is when you get back to the beginning where you started, so you get all the way around, I go through the beads again. So I'll put down, it's unfortunate, this is so shiny. When you get back to your beginning, you're going to want to have your last couple beads go through the beads that you started with, so that they're all connected. And then you're going to go back and secure the beads that you just put on. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So is that enough information for going around? Does anybody need any more information on that part? You guys want to put it in the chat if you do? If you want me to go all the way around and get to that part. Otherwise, I can show you how to, I can show you what happens when you put the banding on, if you're ready for that part. All right, I'm not hearing anything, so I'm going to assume that it's okay to show you the banding. And then if we need to go back, we can always, you can put something in the chat that says, I need to see this part again, or can you finish up this other piece?
I want to see the banding. I've never put that on.
Okay.
I've done
Yeah.
this before. I've put beads on.
Yeah, that's kind of the easy part. I know I used to think this banding was like something scary and magical because it's so shiny and it was mysterious. And then I saw how to do it and I'm like, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was. For me, it's all about the thumbs. Okay, so the one that I have at the stage that's ready for banding looks like this. I don't know if you can see the pattern. It's kind of shiny. Maybe over here. Can you see it over here? Okay, so that's the pattern. And then what I do, because I I go around counterclockwise when I bead. I don't know why, but for some reason that makes sense to my brain. I use my thumb to hold down. Oh, hold backwards in here. I don't know how you do this, Janice. This is a mystery to me. But I use my thumb to hold the banding down. And then I put my needle on the outside of the banding, pull it through, and then I put it on the other side of the banding as close to the center as I can get. I wish you could see that part. It's kind of hard because it's all reflecting. So then the first piece is secure, and now it kind of holds itself on a little bit. But then I move my thumb over one more, otherwise I forget where I was. I put my needle on the other outside part. Oh, maybe you can see that. Put my needle on the outside of the banding on the next piece, and then I put it back on the inside on the other side of the banding, and you just keep going around, and it's like you're sewing it into place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, do you do each crystal
Yes.
all the way around it?
Yep.
Okay, kind of like whip stitch.
Yep. That's why I use my thumb. Otherwise, I forget where I was, and I'm just worried that something's going to get loose. I just like it to be more secure than less secure. So I just keep moving my thumb over and just keep going. Yeah, is it the whip stitch? Is that what that's called?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
You do the whip stitch all the way around.
Actually, a whip stitch goes around the edge like a spiral. You're kind of going up and down, right?
Yes. So I'm the up and down person. I don't know if that's a stitch or not, but
I think that's called a blanket stitch.
okay. Thank you. I have no idea what I'm doing half the time. And I'm like, oh, that works. Somebody showed me what to do, and it was like, oh, I didn't know that's how you did that. So I thought it was pretty simple. But yeah, I just keep going around, up and down and up and down. And that seems to hold it in place really well, and it doesn't jiggle. But it's pretty simple once you start doing it. But I want to make sure I get as close to the outside of that banding as possible, because when you're done, you need to cut this piece out so you can finish it. And I don't want my thread to get cut because I've put my thread out too far. Does that make sense?
mhm.
Okay. So yeah, I just try and get it as close to the banding outside. Then I come onto the inside and I hold it in place. And I just keep going around and around, and I move my thumb over each time so that it is held in place and stays where it's supposed to stay. And this part doesn't take a long time, but takes enough to keep you busy. If I was a faster sewer, I'd probably have this done like right away, but
Do you ever have to glue it down, like glue the beginning or glue the end?
I didn't know that at first, but I was talking to somebody at work, and I said, yeah, I tried that banding stuff, but it didn't stay down. And then they told me the secret was glue. And I said, oh, then little light bulbs started going off, and I was all impressed because I didn't know about the power of glue at that point. So when you're done, it doesn't always line up perfect. So it's a good thing to have glue like that. The E6000, I think, is really good. Then you put it on like that beginning sparkly deal, and then you put it on the end one, and it's supposed to hold it in place. Otherwise, they're just kind of loose and dangling around. So yeah, I use the glue. But at first I was really confused because I thought, well, everybody else is just lays perfect. I must have did something wrong. But really, I just, like I said, didn't know the magic of the glue at that point. So that was a big learning experience, and it was kind of enlightening. But I also found that with that E6000 glue, one of the best things ever was the toothpick, because that glue just kind of comes out and it either gets stuck because it's really sticky and you can't get the glue out. So you have to like try and open it up again. And so the toothpicks are good because you can stick it into the cap area and get out what you need without making a mess. So that was good. Then my kids got into my toothpicks and thought they were like a toy, and then they were all over the house. And yeah, now I have to hide my toothpicks. But yeah, so that's the magic of glue. I hope you can see all this going around the circle. Should have enough time to get through the end. But like I said, I didn't have glue to send with every kit, but you can buy that at Walmart, and they have big tubes and little tubes. You can buy it at, I think they have it at South on Main if you want to go to the store. You can buy it online, or you can come to the library and we'll share some of the glue that we have. So whatever is easier for you beaders.
As a side tip, if you go to Walmart, you can find E6000 in the craft area and in like the hardware area, and it's
yeah.
usually cheaper in the hardware area.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw that one day. I forgot about that tip. Yeah.
Like same exact tube and everything, but it's usually like almost like $1 cheaper. Like it's a lot.
Yeah. It's been a while since I bought glue, but I think I was looking for paracord or something, and I saw the glue and I'm like, hey, this is cheaper than over by the crafty area where I just was.
Yeah.
The whole learning curve and shopping for stuff is just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a weird one. A lot of things are doubled up in hardware and usually cheaper. Because they don't put like the extra decals or the extra little colors on it, make it look fancy. So
Yeah, that's
get away a little cheaper.
Yep. Secret tips. Secret shopping tips. But okay, so I'm almost to the beginning. Kind of nice because this is a small little thing. Hopefully you can see. But I am on like the last two. Now I'm on the last one, and it's not going to match up perfectly, but it's going to be super close. And what it will need is it would need glue, because this little piece sticks up a little bit. I don't know if you can see it. This little piece sticks up where we ended, and the piece right next to it is where we began. Now, I don't think it's going to come off from the other parts, but it would definitely be better if it was glued instead of, you don't want it to get caught on something and have your work start to come apart. So once you get all the way around, I would knot your thread and make sure that stays on, but definitely glue it down, because you don't want some other kind of crazy mishap, like all of a sudden somebody's got, something like a pop socket. It's going to be used a lot, could get stuck on something, and then your other, no, I can't even make a knot. Your stuff would come off, or maybe that one little shiny piece would be dislodged. Oh, here we go. So that part is, well, of course, the minute you're trying to show somebody how to do something is the minute you cannot make a regular knot. I shouldn't say regular, but normally that's the easiest part of my day, but not today. Okay, so that part is done. And then what you would do is you would cut this out. And then what I did is I took my cut out part. Where did that go? Oh, here it is. And then once I cut it out, I put it on top of my backing, and I used a pencil, and I traced around the backing, then I cut out the backing so that it fit and I wasn't wasting too much. And then the next part is the edging. Has anybody done edging before?
Yeah, on medallions and stuff.
Okay. Oh, I got to tie a knot on my thread. Wait, no, this one's good. Okay, so people will tell you that there's a million ways that you can edge. I have seen the popular one seems to be where people do like a line of beads, kind of like a row around. I have a hard time with that because I don't usually eyeball my stuff fairly well. And so what I've usually done is where I put 3 beads on. I don't know if you can see this. Is that better? Is that clear? I'll put 3 beads on, and so it's like 1 bead up all the time. And it's not really high. It's just kind of just gives you that little extra edge look to it. So I usually start by going through the leather or your backing. Put my needle through that. And then I match it up to my finished product, and then I go through the pellin. And then you pick what style you like. So there are, like I said, there is the way where you can do like, I'll show you the one that I'm not very good at. So if I was going to do the one where you just kind of go around, so it's like, say you want to do 3 beads. You put your 3 beads on, and then you can, let me see if I can get it into the camera. Nope, backing up that vehicle again. Okay, so you put your 3 beads on, and then you can go like a little line. I don't know, can you see that? Nope. Backing up the vehicle, okay. I wish this whole camera thing was clear.
Go to your right.
What's that?
Oh, go to your right. Yeah, up. So I guess you're going to do a whip stitch on that then, huh? You're like going around?
Yeah, you could do the whip stitch, and then you just kind of like eyeball it. I'm not so good at the whip stitch. So what I usually do is I guess it's kind of like that. Then I go through the pellin again and the backing. For me, this little 1 bead up thing is a lot easier. So there's 3 beads on here. Then I go up through that 1 bead. And then I just put the 2 beads on again. Can you see that part? Kind of, sort of?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you put your 2 beads on again. 1, 2. You go back through your pellin and your backing again. You want to make sure you get far enough into your backing that it's not going to fall off. I've done that before. I'm like, oh, I missed the backing altogether. You pull your thread through, and then you go back up through that 1 bead. And then you just keep going around and around the circle. It takes a while. This part takes a while because it's all the way around.
I never saw it that way before.
Well, I usually do higher, but for this, I thought if I did it too high, what if it gets stuck on something? I think I saw this summer when we did a raised beading with Sandra Westcott.
Oh, I was going to say it looks like it does a raised beading kind of thing.
Well, it was one of the ways that she edged her stuff. I'm like, ooh, it was like a mind-blowing experience because I'm like, oh, you can just do something small. So I like I've been doing that for these pop sockets. Usually I do something different for earrings and stuff, but this this is a style I typically use, so that's what I'm comfortable with. That's why I'm showing you what I'm comfortable with. Versus the other style where I usually go, oh, that's too close. Oh, that's too far. Oh, there's too much of a gap. So this one works. But I mean, whatever you're comfortable with. But yeah, so I just keep going around and around and around. And then eventually you get back to the beginning. When you get back to the beginning, all the way back where you started from, it would be really hard to show because I didn't have that myself to that step. You go, so you end up over here, close to where you started, kind of sort of see it. Then you would just put that one bead on that's at the top, and then you would go back through that one little bead so they're all connected and it looks like a continuous loop.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions so far? I hope it wasn't too fast.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to figure out what the final edging looks like. I'm having a hard time seeing it because of the camera, which is understandable.
Right.
Um,
Let's see.
I'm
Is it clear on this camera?
wondering if, wait, you're on speaker view, so I can't see your other one in a big view. Let me see again.
Can you see, does the camera clear on this? Oh yeah.
Makes it clearer, yeah, but you're still in a small window. Speaker view, it like blows you up, and you're in gallery view. And I can't get you in big screen.
Oh,
That's weird. That's all right.
Yeah, Laura has you pinned.
oh, the other one?
Yeah.
So how can we get her computer screen large?
I send a message to Laura if she can hear us.
That's all right. I think I get the idea. I just was, I don't know if I've done that edging yet or not. From the way you describe it, it sounds unfamiliar to me, but I bet you if I actually see it, I'd say, oh, that you do it different than I do, but we end up with the same thing.
Probably. But yeah, it's hard to see on this camera. On the iPad,
Yeah, it is.
it seems like a good idea, but the focus isn't the best.
Yeah, well, and maybe once you get more of the stitches down and then I can kind of see better what's going on. It's just the beginning always kind of iffy for me.
Okay. So this one is all the way done. Can you see that one?
Oh, wait, let me see.
So maybe Maria, after this, we can take some pictures and post it with the video
Sure.
on our Facebook page so we can kind of see those details.
So you've got one bead that's sideways up and then better down.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's you put 3 beads on, you go up through the one, then you put 2 beads on, then you go up through the one. And you just keep going all the way around.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
You've probably done it where you put like 5 beads on or something and go up through 2 maybe.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what that was.
That's usually what I do, but for this it's the whole 1 bead. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it looks nice.
And it's nice because it doesn't really go out too far where you're going to
right,
get something caught.
Yeah, and it's a little more fancy than just doing that whip stitch around the edge because got that little dimension of that one bead sticking up, which is nice. So
Can you go over at the end again on how to connect it once you get done going around with the last part of it?
The oh, this edging part.
Yes.
Okay, so it is hard to see, but once you, I don't know if I'll make it all the way around before we're done, but when you get back to the beginning, you're gonna have your, you're gonna go, let's see, I'll keep going and see how close I can get, but you would just put on the one bead that's at the top. So if you're gonna do the same edging, you have 3 beads, and if whatever color it is that you use for your first one that you put on is the only one you would put on, and then you would go back into, oh crap, and then I got so many beads on here. You would go through the bottom bead. Does this make sense? No? It's kind of hard to visualize.
Yeah, I can understand it a little.
Yeah, it's
putting the one last bead on.
and I put too many beads on there, so I have to pull my needle out again. Sometimes I found that when I make one of these little circle guys, I don't like one of the rows. I was talking to somebody else about this the other day. What I do is I cut that row out and I'll do that one row again. But that works if you've knotted. If you've knotted at the end of every row, you can cut something else out and start again. But if you didn't knot it, you'd be like starting all over every single row. But sometimes it seems like a good idea, and then your colors are like, oh, wait a minute, that's not what I expected at all. Yeah, I don't think I'll make it all the way around, but too much on this end. Is there anything else that you need me to explain? I know it's kind of hard because you can't see as much on the camera.
The cutting, once you get it beaded, then you cut and then trace on the leather,
Yes.
right?
Once you've got the edging on and you're all done, then I would cut out your middle piece and then trace around your backing.
Okay.
Now what you have in your kit, you should have enough of everything to make it all the way around, and enough to cover whatever you make, because they're both the same size, I think. So hopefully everybody's breathing while they're beading. That whole relaxation piece is really nice. So what have you been making, Janice?
Nothing actually.
No?
Not reading anyway. Well, I shouldn't say that. I started medallion for my nephew. It's got the Menominee Thunderbird on it. And it's fairly big because he's a bigger person, so I have to make it extra large, and it's going to be a lot of beading, but I got I've got the pattern drawn on. I've got my beads ordered. They came in really fast. I ordered them from Knock Bay, I think it was.
Yeah.
Within like a couple days. I'm like, ooh, that's nice. So I am gonna start beading, and I'm kind of excited, but I'm kind of nervous because I don't know about you guys, but when you try to bead letters onto a pattern, like words, it's really nerve-wracking. I don't know how I'm going to do it. So I think I'm going to practice. I've never, because it's going to say Menominee on top in an arched kind of way.
Oh, wow.
And so I need the letters far enough apart so I can at least bead the background color around it, but not make it look like such a mess where you can't even read the letters, even though the letters will be black and the background will be white. It's just, you know, it's kind of messy and funky if you don't have if your beading is not too tight where it pushes everything around, because then your letters become weird. So anyway, yeah, it's going to be a process. I'm worried about that part the most. So I think I'm going to practice first on that. And I know practicing is going to be time consuming, but I think that if I know what I'm doing after I do a few letters on a practice piece of Palette, I'll know exactly how it's going to work, and then I'll feel better once I start on the actual Palette piece, because once I start my beading on the actual Palette piece with a drawn on design, if I poke too many holes and pull it all apart and keep doing that, then the Palette just becomes, you know, not a very good quality piece to have as a sewing backing. So I'm going to try to preserve that whole Palette piece with a design on it. not make too much of pulling it apart and doing it over and over. But that's about all I'm doing right now for that. I've not even gotten to the point where I put on my edging on my butterfly barrettes yet. That stuff has been sitting aside for a while.
Yeah, my Brett's still like this.
Yeah.
Strings wrapped around it. It's waiting.
But I mean, it's nice knowing that those are on the back burner waiting for me to get to. I really like that feeling. So I hope that's true for you guys as well. And I know that it makes me sad when I know that something stays unfinished for weeks and months at a time. It's kind of like not showing very much respect for your culture or your crafts, your traditional crafts, and you need to always show respect for that. So, you know, it's okay to set it aside for a few weeks if you can't get to it right away, but always have that in your mind and have good thoughts and say, oh yeah, I remember that's coming along really well. Maybe I'll set some time aside to do it next weekend, or, you know, always have it in your mind, not that you put it aside and throw it away and just forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question about the pop socket again. I've never made one before, but I was curious. I thought we beaded right on the plastic thing on the pop socket. So I was excited when I found out that, oh, we're actually making like a small medallion and we're putting it on there, right?
Yep.
Okay. Is it wise to try to get a final piece that's exact same circumference as the sock pocket?
I think it's a preference. I tried to get it as close to it as possible because I looked at other people who had them done, and I thought, like you did, that they beaded right on there. And I thought it was some kind of mysterious beading thing that I just didn't know about. I'm like, how do they do that? What magic do they have that they're beading on the plastic? I don't know how they do it. I want to learn how. Here's glue. I'm like, it's what? Just glue that?
I can't believe that the glue it. That's weird. That there's like a danger of losing your whole beaded piece. I mean, that's a lot of work to lose.
Well, apparently not. Everybody glues it. I would use the good glue though. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the moment you pull out the really good heavy duty stuff.
Yeah.
It's not when you pull out your friend Elmer. You know, I don't think Elmer has what it takes to keep
Right.
beading on plastic. But yeah, it was kind of a mind-altering experience for me. I was shocked when I was told that. I was like, really? I had no idea. So then I went home and took something I didn't know what to do with and glued it on a pop socket. I'm like, oh my God, it works. But that's why I suggested the 3 rows. I think if you were using like the delicas or something, the really tiny beads, you might have to do more than 3 rows, but that would probably be something you check as you're going.
Yeah, I started out with the delicas, and I'll show you guys where I'm at. I'm working on one right now. I had my own cabochon, and then I had my own beading and banding, and I picked up the pop socket. So I'm looking through my beads as we were getting started here, and I thought, oh, these delicas are nice and shiny, the perfect
Aren't they?
bead. So I decided to use those. And so my first 2 rows around are delicas, and the 3rd row is the same color as the cabochon, which is what I want. So that's not delicas, and those are a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, this outside circle, the 3rd circle is going by quickly because I've got bigger beads. But I really like the way that the delicas are, you know, they're tubular and they kind of look really uniform and shiny. And so I will show you momentarily what my 2 rows look like when you use 2 different types of beads. It's not, you know, people don't like to use 2 different kinds because sometimes you like to have your beadwork all flat in one surface, one level surface. But I mean, when you're working in a circular motion like this, you know, sometimes it's kind of nice to have that little bit of raised outside layer or outside roll. It doesn't subtract from the design. It kind of adds to the look a little.
I would think so.
Yeah, I got one more bead here. I was one short. I almost didn't catch that. How much time do we have?
5 minutes.
Okay. All right, so I finished my 3 rows. I hope you can see this. I'll show it on my screen.
Oh yeah,
So the
Oh,
I see that.
and then there's black. You can't even hardly see it because it's not very shiny. And then there's this gold, and then those
Green.
two are the delicas, and this was a regular bead. And then I'm gonna go with my black banding
Oh yeah.
all the way around. Ooh,
I
that's
bet
good.
you that's going to be really close to the size of your pop socket too.
Yeah, so let me see. I bet you it's gonna be too big, too small. Oh, it's gonna be way too small. I might have to do one more roll. This is
Yeah,
what
I think it's the size of the beads will determine how far you have to go around.
this is what it looks like with 2 rows of delicas and 1 row of regular. I got that much space yet, so
Oh my gosh.
go one more. I'm gonna go one more black, no, one more gold delica and then the banding. That was fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like a math thing almost.
Yeah.
Everyday math, Janice. Everyday math.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, right. That's the new math.
No, I don't do the new math either.
But yeah, math every day.
But it's coming around. I guess you can see it a little better. I'm getting closer to the end. I'm not quite there yet, but I like just the one bead up.
Yeah,
I think it gives it that like nice look.
yeah.
And I'm not so good at the whip stitch style, just because I'm not good at eyeballing.
Yeah.
But yeah, then when you're done, you just get the glue and you put that on there. There's still a little bit of backing that you can see, but there's not a lot. Let's try this other camera. See, there's a little bit of backing around there, but it's not a huge amount. So that would still be fine, but it's a preference too. I mean, whatever you want to do. I could have probably done maybe 2 rows in the edging. But then again, it also depends on the size of your edging because this stuff was a little fatter. And sometimes I see people with the metal kind, which is super skinny. So you know, it just depends on what you're using.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I've got to sign off quick. I have a 2 o'clock session with someone, so
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Janice.
it is fun. Thank you. And thank you for all of the good teaching.
Well, thank you for the tips.
Later.
And
Thanks,
getting rid of the echo.
Thank you. Okay, I gotta go too, but I got it. I took some notes too, and I'll look at the video later,
Okay.
but I gotta take off. Thank you for getting me started on this again.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now that I don't have studying and everything else to do, I can do something enjoyable like my crafts. I have a lot of beads and stuff too.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So our next one will be the first Wednesday in March.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, good to
All
see
right.
you, Dolly.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
And the video, it may not be up right away, but you know, it's up so that you can go back and look and kind of go through it.
Okay. Okay. Well, Annan.
You're welcome.
And then also,
So all right. I'm going around. Yeah, well,
ooh,
Oh, those are nice.
nice.
so my counting was a little off. So I have a little bit of extra beads over there, but
Whoa, I like the colors too.
it's working out.
Nice.
So I did another one.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the hardest part is making your design come out the way you want,
Mm-hmm.
counting correctly.
I was doing like 6 beads between two of the colors. I did 2 and then the other color into and then the other color.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did 3 of the dark. And then I switched which one was, so I did like light, light, then really dark, and then dark, light, dark, really dark. But my counting was off. So I have 4 darks, 3.
Oh.
But it works.
Hey, I don't know if Charmaine can hear. It's not, it doesn't look like she's connected, but I just apologize because I think she was trying to join earlier, but it didn't kind of do that notification and I didn't see it right away. So I'm not sure how long she was waiting to get on.
Oh.
So if somebody sees Charmaine, please tell her sorry about that. And I don't know why. Yeah, another Zoom mystery.
I like this. I needed a new pop socket. So, and I've always been curious how they did the beaded ones. I've seen them off and on, but I was like, how in the world?
Yeah, I thought it was, I'd seen people with them and I thought it was some kind of magical
Yeah.
technique. There was like a secret handshake and you had to know somebody to find out, but
Yeah. Who knows?
you know that you have to buy glue.
Yeah. Glue magic.
Yes, glue magic. I am almost all the way to the beginning for this edging, but not quite there yet. I was trying to get all the different, you know, like when you're cooking, like when you watch the cooking shows and then they have the part where they put the pan in the oven
Yep.
and they bring it out and they say, okay, this is what it looks like. I tried to get all my scenarios, but I didn't get the one where it's almost to the end. I say, okay, this is how it looks when you're almost to the end and how you join it up at the beginning.
Yeah, other than buying beads, I haven't done it. I haven't worked on my bread project. All my projects have kind of stopped for a second, but I bought more beads. So, um,
Maybe that will inspire you.
yeah, it's in my head. I just haven't had time lately to do anything.
I know what you mean.
It's kind of like I was so focused on getting Christmas. I did so many like different little brick stitch projects and everything, and I was so focused on it. And then once Christmas passed, I was like, whew.
Walking away from the beads, huh?
Yeah, for a little, just a little bit, it's starting to get the hunger again. And doing this project is like, oh yeah, I want to do more.
Oh.
I had glue in my bag, and my bag's been in my car for the last few days. And did you know that glue can freeze?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's warming up now, but yeah, when I first pulled it out, it was like solid.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I think, at the beginning. Oh, yep, I'm at the beginning. So when you get to, go to the right. Nope, one to the left. Okay, so when you get back to the beginning, one last bead on, because this is only, go to the right, she said. Because it's only one, you just need to put one bead on for this. You go through that bead on the bottom. I can find where it goes in. Go through the bead on the bottom, pull your string really tight, and then I usually go through the pellin so that it secures it. And you can't even tell where you started and ended. Then I put a knot really close to the pellin. And then if you do it right, you get your knot close enough. And even if you don't, like I just did right now, you put your needle through the pellin again. You put your needle to come out quite a bit further. Let's see, get your needle go through. I can get it to go through. Then your knot is hidden. Oh, go to the right. Yep. Then your knot is hidden and you are all finished. And you can't tell where you started and where you stopped. So this would be, oh, go to the right, go to the right. This would be done and ready to be glued on.
Ooh.
And you can't really see where the edging started and began because you go through that beginning one and it ties it all together.
Cool.
All right, so that is it for today. Thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget about the glue. Either buy it or come and borrow it. And yeah, then you would just glue this on here. Glue it on the pop socket and you are good to go. Gift for yourself or a gift for somebody else.
Oh, mine's for me.
Well, that's good. All right. And then we'll have another session in March. We don't have a topic yet, but we will be getting together again. All right. Thank you.